Hello and welcome to Pyramid Journey Through Ascension. My name is Joanne, and on this channel I share my journey through this great awakening of humanity and my own personal journey through ascension. Now this video is going to be a bit of a throw together special. I'm going to do this as a prequel to some videos that I've taken recently with regards to a place that I visited, but I realised that I'm probably better doing a video prior to it to explain a little bit more, because I think if I just show the video of the Star Fort, it might not make sense to some people. So I'm gonna start by, I was introduced to Tartaria maybe about 18 months ago, and I did a lot of research and it really blew my mind. And as someone who works with energy, it all made a real load of sense to me. Now, I'm not telling you what to believe, I never do. I think it's very important that you take what resonates and you leave the rest. But I want to share a little bit about this just to pop it into the collective consciousness. And if you haven't heard of Tartaria, then this might be a good kind of starting point. So I recently received a book. It's called The One World Tartarians, the greatest civilization ever to be erased from history. And it's by a gentleman called James W. Lee. Now, he's done so much research on this, and anybody who has any kind of interest in Tartaria, what it might have been and what it might have consisted of, I really suggest that you get this book, just to have a little bit of a kind of, not even a starting point. I mean, there's so much information in this. It's like 315 pages, so it's a lot. But I like how he starts the book, because he says, firstly, please do not believe anything written in this book to be true. Research for yourselves what you find to be truthful or not, using your own discernment and judgment. Secondly, assume nothing to be true. The ancients had a term called tabula rasa, which meant to start anew with a fresh, open mind, where everything and anything is possible. And I love how the book starts with that. We're living in an age of, what we read, what we see, what we hear, a lot of it maybe isn't true, and we really need to come from a place now of discernment. So, I used to think when I was little, anything written in a book had to be true, right? Like the news. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit out of this book, just while showing you some pictures, not from the book, but just pictures that I found online, because he really describes Tartaria better than I can. So chapter 1, I'm going to read a little bit of this, so bear with me. Who were the Tartarians? The official history is hiding a major world power which existed as late as the 19th century. Tartary was a country with its own flag, its own government, and its own place on the map. Its territory covered most of the modern world we know today, yet somehow it was ever so quietly incorporated into Russia and some other countries. Sometime in the 18th century, Tartare Muscovite was the biggest country in the world, covering over 3 million square miles. It appears to have been one country, then split up. According to the 1979 Webster's Dictionary, there's no such place as Tartary or Tartaria, unless we accept the word Tartarus, which according to Webster is described as being a place in Hades reserved for the worst of offenders. Webster had to admit that tartar sauce was a thing, and also defines the word Tartar as a native or inhabitant of Tartary, but then adds a person of ill or violent temper, and one that proves to be unexpectedly formidable as alternative definitions. Once it gets tartar on teeth causing decay, it becomes clear that there was a deliberate intent to remove Tartary from all his story, as in history. In Greek mythology, Tartarus is a deep abyss that is used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked and the prison for the Titans. There are well-established giants throughout the Tartary territory. The Tartarians are thought to have been breatharians, a being who does not rely on the digestion and burning of calories from food or water, but instead rather receives energy straight from the ether, much how plants get their food for energy. The ether is thought to be the very fabric of space-time continuum that some would associate with electrons, the wind, the Holy Spirit, the atmosphere and the gases in the atmosphere, such as oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen. Since Tartarians quite possibly had a completely altered digestion system than the one we now have, they had no need for toilets in their bathrooms. Additionally, there were no sewer systems or waste treatment plants found. Were they able to make their bodies so efficient? There was no waste created. The Tartarians were masters of masonry, brickwork, steampunk-style technology, universally free energy, and grand architecture. Their Roman and Gothic-style architecture can still be found in the current guise as water ducts, city halls, banks, water stations, cathedrals, churches, hospitals, and similar public and city work-type buildings. Their buildings were structurally sound and many are still in excellent condition today. So there's a lot written here. I'm not going to read it all. And there's a lot I can't also say on YouTube either, as you'll appreciate, which is why I really, really suggest, if you have an interest in this, there's been a lot of people that have debunked this or tried to debunk it. But I mean, you just need to look at some buildings and when they were supposed to be built, and you know, the technology of the time. You know, there's a lot of this that really, really doesn't add up. And they're all, you know, they're all over the world. I'm gonna pop up some, I mean, I don't have to go far. I don't have to go far to see the remnants of Tartaria. In fact, I don't have to walk very far outside of my front door to see it in the structures of the buildings round about me. Let's talk about the griffins, because the griffins were supposed to be the symbol of Great Tartaria. I'm reading again from this book. So the griffin is a legendary creature with the body, tail and back legs of a lion, the head and wings of an eagle, and sometimes an eagle's talon as its front teeth. Because the lion was traditionally considered the king of the beasts, and the eagle the king of the birds. By the Middle Ages, the griffin was thought to be especially powerful and a majestic creature. Since classic antiquity, griffins were known for guarding treasures and priceless possessions. In Greek and Roman texts, griffins were associated with gold deposits of Central Asia. In Tartarian legend of this period, it was believed that griffins mated for life, and that when one partner died, the other would live the rest of his or her life without seeking another partner. This has led to claims that the griffin was used by the church as a symbol against remarriage. It's unclear, however, whether this was the actual belief or just a modern interpretation. Although the griffin might seem like a creature conjured from the imagination of mankind, there might actually be some truth in this creature. So I'm going to show some pictures of the griffin that can be found not far from my front door. And as soon as I became aware of Tartaria, I watched You Are Known. He did and I don't believe in everything that was said, but he also did some very, very good research on this and put videos together with regards to this. And you know, I really do believe that we had free energy, and these places, the shapes of them, surrounded in water, I mean, they were absolutely conducting free energy and pulling energy from the ether. That's what I believe, anyway. So I've shown some pictures here. Do your own research, but you know, could it be possible that the history that we've been told isn't true? Could it be possible that there was a civilization and they knew about the energy grids of the planet? They knew about the ley lines, the dragon lines, the song lines, whatever we want to call them. Because interestingly enough, as I work with the energy on these lines, for example, the likes of churches are always on two ley lines that are crossed on a node, which is harnessing very powerful energy. Could it be that these churches perhaps weren't churches? Could they have been harnessing energy, collecting it, storing it? Could they... These buildings are all very symmetrical as well, and when you look at cymatics, is it possible that they were designed to harness frequency? It all kind of points in the right direction for me. So over the past year or so, as I've been travelling about Scotland, you know, I've been looking at these buildings and looking at these designs and tuning in. And to me, what we've been told doesn't add up to what I feel and what I believe. So this is just a very, very quick rendition into Tartaria. The next video that I'm going to put together and put up is a star fort that me and my friends did a little bit of a mission on the star fort and videoed it for you to see, to make up your own mind. But before I did that, I wanted to just put this together a little bit about Tartaria. So there, you know, online it's hard to find information. It really is, even to find any pictures, for very good reasons. So if this does strike a chord with you, The One World Tartarians by James W. Lee. And on the back I'll just read what it says before I finish up. The Tartary civilization encompassed most of the world we know today, from Russia to China to Africa to India to Australia and New Zealand, and to the North and South Americas. They've been swept from modern history books and were likely destroyed in the 19th to 20th centuries, along with many of their amazing buildings. There are numerous documents proving that there were also giants amongst them around the world, while Black Moors were the Native American people, not the Indians. The people of Tartary were destroyed by the same advanced technology that controls our weather today. They were flooded, firebombed, earthquaked, and likely had direct energy weapons used against them. Many of their remnant skulls and bones have been buried under these major cities. The Tartarian Old World Order was an elegant, benevolent society. They used advanced physics and sacred geometrical designs, as well as pipe organs and carillon bells to help and heal all. One of their main creeds, to give back more to nature than we take. And all of the architecture and technology we know of today was developed by the Tartars. There is nothing new under the sun. The 18th and 19th centuries were final book burning and removal from the historical knowledge of this once great civilization that flourished up just 100 years ago before being eliminated from our history books of today.